Wow. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about I'm Thinking of Ending Things, shall we? I'm Thinking of Ending Things is Netflix's newest feature film. It's a psychological horror, it's what it's being billed as. It was written and directed by Charlie Kaufman, and it stars Jessie Buckley, Jessie Plemons, Toni Collette, and David Thewlis. Despite second thoughts about their relationship, a young woman, unnamed, played by Jessie Buckley, takes a road trip with her new boyfriend, Jake, played by Jessie Plemons, and they're going to his family farm to meet Jake's parents, played by Toni Collette and David Thewlis. But a freak blizzard traps them at the farm with Jake's parents, and the young woman starts to question the nature of everything she knew or understood about Jake, herself, and the world. Before I get further into this review, thank you all so much for stopping by and clicking on the video. I hope you guys enjoy your stay. If any of you guys are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. That way you don't miss any of my future fun content coming out. And please be sure if you enjoyed the video to leave a big fat thumbs up on it by the end. But holy God, where do I begin with this one? I feel like the first thing I should tell you guys about this movie is that the plot synopsis I literally just read you guys is quote for quote what it tells you on Rotten Tomatoes. And honestly, reading that plot synopsis word for word to tell you what this movie's about is honestly the best way I could tell you about it, because this movie is super ultra confusing. But I'm still somehow just in awe about this one. As I mentioned near the top of this video, this film was written and directed by Charlie Kaufman. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you all, you would be correct. This is in fact the same mind behind Being John Malkovich, which admittedly I have not seen yet. But he also did a little film called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I think is a fantastic movie featuring Jim Carrey's, what I think is Jim Carrey's best performance of his entire career. And if it's not his undisputed best performances, it's certainly one of them. But Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, similarly, super ultra confusing, but this film, all I can say is that Charlie Kaufman has done it again. This film befuddled me in the best way possible, and it is batshit insane. And of course, as per with all of my reviews on this channel, this is going to be as spoiler-free as possible, but man, am I tempted to get further into it. So just a fair warning, I probably won't, but I'm going to try my best to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, because I definitely think you all should check this out. But there is a lot to praise about I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This movie is so well crafted, so well written, so well directed. It is seeping with symbolism from the opening frame. Now, one thing watching this movie that you all might notice from the get-go is the smaller aspect ratio. Immediately, once I saw that, I knew this movie was filled with symbolic brilliance. It's a very vintage feel with vintage-looking backgrounds and vintage-looking sets. This is all done to complement a statement made by this main character, played by Jessie Buckley in the movie. She basically says something along the lines of, even though this relationship is only 6 weeks old, it feels very vintage. Brilliant. Excellent, excellent screenwriting. I could not have summed this movie up any better than that. Not only brilliant technicals, but brilliant performances to go along with it. Jessie Buckley is absolutely mesmerizing in this role. Even though we never learn this main character's name, she is so dynamic and so investing. I was rooting for her hardcore throughout this whole thing. Jessie Plemons, I think, was equally great as Jake. I love their chemistry together, especially in the car scenes on this really long road trip that they're going on. I'd honestly even go as far as saying these are worthy of Oscar nominations. I'm serious, they were that great in this movie. Now, I mentioned a lot of these car scenes. Now, this is what might turn a lot of people off from this movie. It's that these conversations feel completely random, and a lot of the stuff they're talking about doesn't feel wholly important to the narrative they're telling here. There are lots of various topics that come up in their talks inside the car. But guess what? They're on road trips, and that's how these conversations feel. They're supposed to feel random. They're supposed to feel like they're not really going anywhere, without really any bridging gaps. And it's a perfect representation of what Jessie Buckley's character thinks this relationship is like. It's not going anywhere. Alas, she's thinking of ending things. But I definitely can see why people would be turned off from this movie with these meandering conversations. And I will admit, there were a couple of times where I was like, this is going on a little long. But honestly, the whole idea, I completely understand. Charlie Kaufman found a way to make this work. But I will say, this film definitely picks up once they finally get to the parents' house, and this is where the movie gets super, super weird. Toni Collette and David Thewlis, I've always thought were two extremely underrated actors, and they were so unreal in this movie. Like, they just disappeared into these people. They were so eccentric and off-putting, and I just got this really uneasy feeling from them. And I think that's exactly what Charlie Kaufman was going for. I feel like these two actors played these roles to perfection. Now, I will admit, just based on sentimental value, these are not my favorite performances from these two. I feel like I enjoyed Toni Collette's performance in Hereditary way more than this. And to me, David Thewlis will always be Remus Lupin from the Harry Potter series. But that's not to say I did not enjoy these performances. I thought they were just downright phenomenal. And if it were up to me, both of them would get Best Supporting Actor nods at the Academy Awards. Seriously, just so much talent shining through in this movie. It's so awesome to see. And like I said, this movie is absolutely insane. I feel like people are gonna be really analyzing this thing for years to come. I want to say it's one of the best movies of the year, and man, this movie really got me, guys. But the main issue I had with this movie is actually the third act. And if I were to go deeper into, like, what that third act entails, it's going to get into a little bit of spoiler territory, so just be forewarned. I will mention, though, there is a ballet sequence in a high school hallway. And considering everything else that just came before it, it just kind of felt out of place. Again, extremely mild spoiler, but I see this ballet sequence as an homage or a tribute to a musical that these two reference throughout the movie. As a Broadway fan, it made me really happy to see that, but considering everything else that came before it, it just kind of felt out of place. But obviously, as I've mentioned, I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's psychological chaos, it's artistic insanity, and Charlie Kaufman once again proves that he is such an underrated master of his craft. And I extremely respect him for all he's done for the industry, and especially showing with this movie, he places a lot of trust in his audience. He's not a director who just spouts off the film's meaning and says, okay, look, there it is. No, movies like these are gifts. He places a lot of trust in us as an audience to analyze this movie's meaning. And I feel like a lot of us critics are going to be doing so for years to come. I'm Thinking of Ending Things a B+. This one's on Netflix right now. Definitely don't miss it. It's really, really creepy. But what did you guys think of this movie? What do you think its ultimate meaning is? I'd like to hear all of your speculation down in the comment section down below, and I'd love to discuss this movie with you guys further. And as you guys know, I'm always completely game to discuss movies and all things entertainment with you guys. So if you guys enjoy my content and you guys want to continue discussing the cinema with me, I'd love for you guys to hit that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. And please be sure to leave a big fat thumbs up on your way out as well if you enjoyed the video. Guys, thank you all so much once again for clicking on the video and tuning in. Thank you all so much for your support of the channel so far. It means the world to me. You guys are the best. Look forward to more fun content coming up very soon. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.